Hello, I am Nuño. I am a professor in the area of signal theory and communications at the Polytechnic University of Valencia in Spain. Now I'm going to talk about pop and rock harmony, and I will use this tool which I showed you in other presentations, which is the harmonic wheel. Pop and rock songs represent most of the so-called commercial music, that is the music that most people like to listen to. So it's very important for composers to know their characteristics. In fact, their harmonic characteristics are very well defined. Additionally, the harmonic wheel greatly simplifies this study, since it allows us to easily obtain and classify all the chords associated to any key. In this study, I obtained some statistics from the works by Trevor de Klerk and David Temperley, published in the journal Popular Music by Cambridge University Press. I obtained statistics on chords. About 3/4 of chords are based on a major triad, and the other quarter are based on a minor triad. Chords with an augmented triad or a diminished triad are rarely used. Regarding the structure of chords, more than 90% of them are in root position. The addition of a major seventh is rarely used, both in a major chord or on a minor chord. The addition of a minor seventh is used in moderation, thus leading to dominant seventh chords and minor seventh chords. The chords with added ninth or suspended second or suspended fourth are also used in moderation. Now some statistics on keys and notes. 80% of the songs are written in a single key, while the other 20% are written with some modulations. We can also classify the songs according to the mode, major or minor. This way, 82% of the songs are composed in a major mode, 14% in a minor mode, and 4% of songs has a section in a major mode and another section in a minor mode. To do this analysis, we will classify the harmonies into 4 groups. Main chords, which are tonic, subdominant, and dominant chords in a major key. Then diatonic chords, which are degrees 1 to 6 in a major key. Then secondary dominant chords and modal interchange chords. Apart of them, we have the expanded harmony, more complex harmonies, and modulations. Here we have a first figure with statistics on songs. Here we can see that 19% of them are composed with only the 3 main chords, 15% with at most the 6 diatonic chords, 16% with diatonic plus 3 secondary dominant chords, 14% with diatonic plus modal interchange chord, that is with a maximum of 12 chords, only 5% with an expanded harmony, 11% with more complex harmonies, and 20% of the songs contain a modulation. From now, we are going to consider the 80% of songs not containing a modulation. First, we can review the chords associated to any key. Let's consider the C major key. Here you can see the C major scale. If we superimpose 2/3 on each of those notes, we obtain the triad chords in C major. And if we superimpose 3/3 on each note of the major scale, we obtain the 7th chords or tetrad chords in C major. The harmonic wheel gives us these 7th chords or tetrad chords very easily. We select the tonic by this little rectangle. Here we can see the tonic C, and we obtain a big rectangle with the degrees 1 to 6. The other degree, 7th, will be disregarded for the moment. The 3 main chords in C major are 1st, 4th, and 5th degrees, that is chords C major, F major, and G major. 19% of the songs are composed with only the main chords in a major key. Regarding the diatonic chords, 15% of these songs are composed by using at most these 6 chords. From them, 11% are written in a major mode and 4% in a minor mode. In C major, we know that G is the dominant of tonic C, but we can find other dominants for the rest of degrees, thus obtaining the secondary dominant chords. For example, for D minor, the second degree, its dominant chord is A major, and so on for the rest of the degrees. In this table, we can see that C is the dominant of F, which belongs to the C major key. And the 7th degree, B, which is the dominant of E minor, is rarely used. Usually, a dominant chord tends to resolve to its corresponding tonic, but in pop and rock music, the dominant chords are used in a free way and do not need to resolve. Here we have represented the secondary dominant in C major. On the harmonic wheel, we can see that they are placed just above the big rectangle. 16% of pop and rock songs are composed by using diatonic plus secondary dominant chords. From them, 10% are in major mode and 6% in a minor mode. If we are in C major, the modal interchange chords are those belonging to its parallel mode, that is, C natural minor. Those chords are placed just below the big rectangle on the harmonic wheel. The chord D flat major, is represented here with a dashed line, is rarely used, only 0.5% of times. We call expanded harmony the set of diatonic chords, secondary dominant, and modal interchange chord. Only 5% of the songs contain these 3 types of harmonics. But this percentage increases up to 11% if we include those songs containing modulations. In this diagram, we can see how the different chords are placed on the harmonic wheel. We choose the tonic with this small rectangle, and then we automatically find the diatonic chords in this big rectangle. Just above them, we find the secondary, the dominant chords, and just below it, the modal interchange chords. So if we are in E major, we can easily find all the diatonic, secondary dominant, and modal interchange chords. And in the same way for any other major chord, for example, D flat major. With the harmonic wheel, we don't need to do any complex mental exercise for obtaining the chords. The rest of chords are called little related chords. Only 11% of the songs include one of these chords or an augmented or diminished chord. This percentage increases up to 16% if we include the songs containing modulations. Here we can see again our first figure with statistics of songs from which we analyze the 80% of them. Now we are going to analyze the 20% of songs containing modulation. To do so, we take each of those songs and divide them in a single key sections. From those sections, we choose the most complex one and classify it in the other groups. This way, we obtain this second figure with statistics on songs, and we find that 21% are composed with only the 3 main chords, 19% with the 6 diatonic chords, 19% combine diatonic plus 3 secondary dominant chords, 14% with diatonic plus modal interchange chords, 11% with expanded harmony, that is at most 15 chords, and more complex harmonies, we have 16%. As conclusions, we performed a study of pop and rock harmony from a set of 100 representative songs. We classified the most used chord into 4 groups: main, diatonic, secondary dominant, and modal interchange chords. The harmonic wheel, as we showed, allows us to easily obtain the chords associated to any key, and moreover, classified by group, which is very important. Therefore, the harmonic wheel is a useful and efficient tool both for analyzing and composing pop and rock music. You can find all the information on the webpage harmonicwheel.com. Thank you very much for your attention.